The views expressed on the podcast are those of the individuals who made them, and they do not represent the views or beliefs of Job Duck.
Hello, buenas tardes, goeiedag, dumelang, bonjour, san bonani to everybody listening. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Pumped Up Quacks. My name is Wussy, and we are here with a mixed bag of suspects today. But first, we will start with the usual one. Hello, Andy.
Good day, Busi. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. My name is Andy. Well, it's Andres, but they call me Andy, and I'm from Mexico. I'm glad to be back. We miss Miguel, though. He is missing. But yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Hello, my name is Danica, and I am from South Africa. People usually just call me Danny. I am very happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yay, I am people, so I'm going to call you Danny too. Woohoo!
Awesome. You're welcome.
Welcome, Danica. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. And before we get carried away with all these hellos, we just want to get tucked into this week's riddle. So are you guys ready? You're in a dark room with a candle, a wood stove, and a gas lamp. You only have one match. So what do you light first?
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
Give it some thought. I will remind you of what the riddle is later, but we will discuss the answer at the very end of the episode. But in the meantime, how about we get tucked into this week's quacky news? A California man with a passion for hot peppers earned his latest Guinness World Records title by eating 10 Carolina Reapers. And these are supposed to be the world's hottest chili peppers, registering at 1,641,183 Scoville heat units, which are the units used to measure the spiciness of food. You know, he did break the record. He's going to go in the book, but I really hope that the ulcers are worth it.
God.
But congratulations, man.
The International Council of Mexicans approved that man. He just gets a visa and a passport.
The FTX crypto company that I don't know if you've heard of before, but the crypto billionaire Sam Bankman is the owner. I hope I am pronouncing his surname correctly. I think it's Bankman. His net worth is $24 billion, but he lives like a college student in an apartment with 10 other flatmates, and he drives a Toyota Corolla. What does he do with his billions, you might ask? Well, he donates 99% of his income to the poor, and he only gives 1% to kind of just, get by and survive.
That is
that is how we should be living. When they asked him why, he said that if you saw a child drowning in a pond, would you not jump in to save the child, even though it meant that you would get your own clothes dirty? And he said that any decent person would, of course, save that child. So how can he live in abundance when he knows there are so many other people starving and struggling? He said it's his responsibility to care for others.
Yeah, that's super altruistic of him. But it's also important to point out, guys, go out and calculate what 1% of 24 billion is. He is not that broke.
I think that's
right?
More than enough to still consider himself a millionaire. So yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. Definitely true.
2 giant orbs broke free and bounced through the streets of London this week, according to videos posted on social media. While the silvery balls looked like they were part of an early Christmas display, they were not actually related to the holiday. Instead, they were part of an installation called Ford World, set by artist Tom Shannon. So if you're in London, then you better go Indiana Jones around the streets of London, because there's a big giant orb probably chasing you this week.
I have a question. Is the fact that the orbs are tumbling through the streets of London, is that part of the art, or is just that some kind of calamity that shouldn't have happened?
I think that was an accident. Yeah, they weren't supposed to. But, if you see the sculpture, because it's part of a 4-ball sculpture, these are placed in a pyramid shape. So I assume that the top one kind of like pushed one of the ones that were holding it down, and then they start rolling and then went away. But they are gigantic.
Okay. That's a lot of quacky wacky things going on in the world. Hot chilies, big balls, and lots of money going to the poor. Great stuff. Let's continue with today's topic. And today's topic is actually quite an interesting one, if not a little bit creepy. I was hoping to chat with you guys about true crime, which by its very nature, true crime focuses on the experiences of real people in real places. And it's scary, astounding, maybe even fascinating that the horrific stories that play out in those reenactments and interviews on true crime shows actually really happened. So the thing is, these things are awful, right? They're happening in this world, but people love to watch this on TV. What is the deal with our obsession with true crime? Is it also being romanticized, or is it really what it is? What do you guys think? Do you guys watch true crime shows, first of all?
Oh, yes, I absolutely love it. But I mean, for me specifically, I have a psychology background. So I think for me, the obsession comes in to kind of understand the reasoning behind why and, what led to this person to do what they are doing, what happened in their past, what happened in the family life. That is kind of my obsession with it. I just want to figure out why. But I do think that in today's society, it's quite interesting that people are so, everyone loves true crime stories and everyone watches it and just binge watches it. So maybe it is starting to be like a more normal thing, which is maybe not that great.
Yeah. It's actually weird that it's becoming a normal thing, to be honest. But Andy, do you watch true crime?
I do, not that often. I like all the types of crime, like not the homicidal stuff. I like where people play like fraud and like really large things, but more related to being very ingenious to like come up with a gigantic scam. So these people kind of like juggle between like all the things that they can do and then nobody tells you that you can't do. And that is really interesting at the end. Like they end up with a big empire. They scam 10,000 people and they get caught because everybody gets caught at the end. But that's for me interesting. Still qualifies as true crime because it's true and it's a crime. But yeah, not the typical one that is most popular for like everybody in
which is the murder stuff.
With the murder stuff, yeah, Netflix, Spotify and stuff,
The gloomy, and the doomy.
Yeah, the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world. It's actually what fascinated me about that show was that the Jeffrey Dahmer story is not a new story. This happened like a while ago. It's all been there. It's in the records. It's been documented. There've actually been other documentaries and shows documenting the stuff that Jeffrey Dahmer did in his life. Do you think that it's sort of dangerous the way Netflix romanticizes some of these stories because it was the Netflix one that got people watching?
Yeah, I think it can be both dangerous and good. I read an article the other day that they asked, why do we not see so many serial killers today? I mean, it's not like people do not still grow up in terrible situations, and we kind of do not see it that much anymore. And one of the things that they said was that people know a little bit more about, what is warning signs, what to look out for, not to go out alone, not to go to strangers' houses. I mean, things are kind of a little bit more protected in that way. But I do feel it is dangerous because there are people out there that would watch something like that and they would kind of make this person, they would kind of want to be like him and also get that attention that he got. And, one thing would lead to the other and they would start maybe doing the same thing. You never know. There are really kind of crazy people out there.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think one of the other reasons is for you to be a serial killer, you need to commit
a series of murders.
Yeah. And right now with security, which ties a lot to our second topic, but stick around to listen to it. Security prevents you to get away with that, We are way more observed and right now analyzed. Our patterns, our conduct, even like you don't know, but probably your browser is not private, like your searches are not private. So if somebody that is a rookie, let's say, that wants to like commit a crime, they start like looking for ways on Google how to kill somebody, like and stuff like that, it's way easier for you to get caught and cause like a red alert to like an organism that specializes in security. So maybe that as well. And also security cameras around the city and stuff. So that's what I think about it. And the golden age of serial killers, which was the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, it was a time where all these things weren't as usual. Like maybe they existed, like maybe some stores have a security camera, let's say in the 80s, but it wasn't that common. And it was expensive, and maybe this is one of the primary reasons why we went crazy with security cameras and security. So that's my thought.
Yeah.
When it comes to the actual like serial killers, the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world, I also recognize that it was a different time. I think maybe it might have been easier to do what he did back then, but then sometimes it's a reminder to just be vigilant and be aware of your surroundings, because there was the one scene in that show where there was a guy who got a drink from Jeff Dahmer, and he looks at his drink and he's like, what is the stuff floating in my drink? And then Jeffrey Dahmer brushes it off, and then the guy drinks it anyway, and it's like, okay, just, drinks from strangers, guys, those are not safe. Like, are there lessons that can be learned from all these true crime things?
Yeah, I think definitely there are. I think the biggest lesson for me is how manipulating people can be, and how people can be seen as, just like for Jeffrey specifically, if I had to see him, I would not think of him as a threat. He kind of looked a little bit like, whatever, what's he going to do? But people are so manipulating, and they can really hide their true intentions, and I feel like at least these documentaries let us see that, and see that people are not always what they pretend or say to be.
And red flags shouldn't be ignored, guys. A red flag is a red flag.
Sure. Totally. It doesn't matter if the woman or the man who is giving the red flag is like beautiful. Please take care and do not ignore, for the sake of a good time, let's say.
Beautiful red flags.
Beautiful red flags are the most dangerous ones. And in my opinion, I think people need to see the bigger picture. Sometimes you would watch a show like the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary. You kind of want, like, while watching the show, that this person like gets away with it, and you don't understand the big panorama, the people who have suffered from those kind of things. And it's something that maybe narrative, like that desire from the company, the producers, to make it engaging, maybe it prevents you to see the actual harm that has been done throughout the history, like these kind of things.
We forget that Jeffrey Dahmer stuff is there were actual victims, there were actual lives there. Even Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy and Ed Gein and like the Zodiac killer, which still freaks me out that he was never caught. But like all of those were real lives that were lost. And sometimes I feel like these true crime series kind of take away from that, because what they're doing is feeding that fascination. And it's TV. Yes. TV does what they do to keep you watching. Well, one thing that true crime series have turned me into is I'm very weird if I'm like going on a date or something, especially if it's someone I met on an app like Tinder. Like usually the first thing I say is, I really hope you're not a killer. So, and they crack up, but they don't know how serious I am. I really hope you're not a serial killer.
Oh, maybe they're not a serial killer, but they're like the Tinder swindler or something that, like
so much danger out there.
Scammy people, and that's serious as well. You don't want to like end up like those guys. But be on the lookout and do not trust anybody, especially if you met them through a date app.
Moral of the story, don't trust anybody.
Don't trust anybody.
Trust
yourself.
No one. Take things with a grain of salt, especially if it's a stranger. And guys, in the comment section, if you're listening on YouTube, let us know what some of your favorite true crime stories are. Well, not favorite as in romanticizing, but what were the true crime stories that really left an impact on you, that left a mark on your mind, that made you really think about how you conduct yourself when you go out into the world? And what are some of the lessons you might have learned? We'd love to hear from you. Talk to us in the comments. And that having been said, let's get back to that riddle, shall we? You're in a dark room with a candle, a wood stove, and a gas lamp. You only have one match. So what do you like first? Find out
know
at
the
the end
answer.
of the show.
If you speak English and you don't have a job, go to jobdoc.com and try it out. JobDoc.
Okie dokie, guys. We work in fully 100% virtual offices here at the Job Duck. So do the people who we place in these incredible career opportunities that we offer. So this means that a lot of the work, if not most, or all of the work that you are going to do is going to be online on your computer. And there is a need to be vigilant about how you look after everything that is on your computer. So we've all heard of cyber scams, which are scams that happen over the internet. And cyber scams are nothing new to us, but attackers are getting more and more sophisticated, smarter, and more efficient at choosing their marks, because there may still be some people who are not aware of how they can take care of their PCs. Your PC has valuable personal info, as well as critical and private information related to your work. And it's important to be vigilant about protecting your information today, as well as the information that is related to your job. So today we will talk about the steps that you can take to protect your PC right from your home office. So guys, who wants to give us our first little tippy tip about how to stay away from cyber scams and phishing scams and hackings and things of the sort?
Well, I mean, I can go ahead and share because this has definitely been something that I know, but somehow they still trick me into it. Of course, do not click on any links in suspicious emails. I mean, that is something that I know, like I said, but I fell victim to it because they worded the email in such a way that I really thought it was true. And also for me specifically, I was waiting for a parcel from Amazon, and they of course send an email from customs, and waiting on something from Amazon, I would think that customs would reach out to me. So yes, that is how I fell prey. So always remember, don't click on any suspicious links.
Don't click on any suspicious emails. Was there anything else about the email which in hindsight you can say, if I had noticed this, I might have realized that this is not a genuine thing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, specifically, like the wording and everything was very professional, but I think looking back afterwards, when I looked at the specific name for the customs company, that company does not exist. So I could have literally just Googled the name and I would have known that this is surely a scam. And then of course the email that they used, the email, it always has it kind of just looks suspicious. I don't really know how to describe it, but towards the end of the email, there's always stuff that just kind of makes it look suspicious. So having looked back at it, if I just spend more than 1 minute on that email, I would have known that this is surely a scam.
Exactly. No, I think that the email address sometimes is a big hint that somebody's trying to scam you. Like at gmail.com is probably a scam, It has happened to me before.
And it can, just as it affected her, it can affect you at a time when you're actually expecting that kind of email, really. So you won't question it too much because you're like, nah, okay, I figured customs might reach out to me, or I figured that this company might reach out. It's still important, especially if there's links. Just look at the email address, take a look at the English as well. Like sometimes they'll word it very professionally, but some scammers aren't that thorough, and they'll leave a couple of grammatical lapses in their emails as well. And if you're not sure, just do what you can to try and verify that email. And don't click on the links, guys. Don't click on the links. Andy, what tip do you have for us in terms of protecting our computer?
Geez, well, I have been scammed multiple times. Well, not scammed, but like hacked and stuff. So I have some experience about it. All right, first thing, guys, do not download anything pirate. I know, guilty, But yeah, after that experience, I understood the importance of buying original things, And I am not doing piracy anymore. Like, I'm done with that. It's super bad. It's certainly a life lesson. But it's not just because you can end up being hacked, which is terrible, which happened to me. But it is because it's wrong. Like, you need to take people's effort into account and recognition. So do that. But I was so afraid. I was like changing my back that time. I was changing my passwords constantly. To like really complex ones.
Which, by the way, is a great way to protect your PC, guys. Don't don't make your password, please.
Exactly. Your password shouldn't be like 1, 2, 3, 1 to 10. It shouldn't be your dog's name and 3 numbers. You know, like, do some random things. A way of creating a good password is to pick 2 things that you like, right? So like maybe pick a character from a movie you like and pick a book that you really like, and then try to put them together, change some letters to like numbers and to symbols, you know, that look kind of like visually similar to the letters that you're taking out of those
letters, numbers, symbols, characters, underscores, hashes, anything, guys. And you can also use password generators as well. And I know like the one thing that people moan about a lot is like, oh my gosh, it's so many passwords. But the thing is, it's either that many passwords or just have the hell hacked out of your computer. So it's up to you.
keep a password book as well.
And you got to change them often, especially for things like banking and whatnot. So stay on top of that, guys. And whilst we are still on the topic of passwords, well, my little tip is to do with 2FA and MFA, or rather two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication when logging into or when securing all your various accounts and whatnot. And this is a layered approach to securing your online accounts. An example of this could be when you log into Google, you will put in your password and then it will maybe send a text message to your phone or a different email account or whatever it is that you have set up there. So you can provide them with a verification code, or maybe you need to perform an action on a different device in order to authenticate that login. So that is something which I also highly recommend, because if it's not you who's trying to log in, you will get a notification on that other device to let you know that somebody's trying to log in.
Exactly. Good point.
And other things you can consider is keeping your software updated on your PCs as well, just to make sure that it's up to scratch with whatever latest threats are out there. And as we've already mentioned, we need strong passwords, and you have to think before you click on anything.
Exactly. Another suggestion that I can give you is do regular checkups of your computer. Give some service once a year, but also when it comes to like viruses and malware, run checkups constantly, like once a week. Check if you have something that it's infected in your computer, because right now we don't exactly know how sophisticated these people who are creating these threats are managing. So it can change from one moment to another, and maybe it's best if you take proper care before you actually have a threat. Don't wait until your computer is infected for you to run or scan your computer. Like, do it beforehand.
Do it before. Be vigilant. Pay attention. So, Andy and Danny, that rhymes, by the way, did we learn lessons from our past hacking mistakes?
Yes, for sure.
We certainly did. I wish I didn't, but I did.
Yes, even me. Wish it didn't happen, but at least I learned my lesson.
Well, experience is a great teacher, guys. And yes, guys, look after your PCs. And if you have any other tips or ways in which you can look after your PCs, keep them secure and whatnot, please do let us know in the comment section if you're listening on YouTube. We would love to get your points of views and your perspective and your tips as well. Okay, great. Right, everybody, it's time to tackle that riddle. Shall I repeat it one last time? You're in a dark room with a candle, a wood stove, and a gas lamp. You only have one match, so what do you light first?
I know the answer, But
Okay, well.
since Danica is our guest, I will give you the shot to answer first.
I think I would probably light the lamp first, because then at least I can also see what is going on firstly. And secondly, you can probably use that flame to light whatever else.
Clever. Okay. Andy, how about you?
You light the match first, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the answer. You got it. Yay!
Of course, it makes sense.
Okay. Well, yes, we got the riddle. We've got our tips, guys. Thank you so much for a great conversation. Thank you so much, Danny, for joining us this week. We appreciate your time and your insight here on this podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It was absolutely amazing and so fun.
Yes, guys, true crime. Watch those true crime. True Spits was spat in this episode. So go back if you want to hear them again. But to everybody listening out there, if you are interested in JobDuck, or if you want to apply to one of our positions, please visit our website at www.jobduck.com. You can also hang out with us on social media. On Facebook, we are the JobDuck. On Instagram, we are the JobDuck. On LinkedIn, we are the JobDuck. On Twitter, we are at @the_JobDuck. On TikTok, we are the JobDuck. Our brand ambassador's TikTok is at JobDuck Daily. You can also find us on YouTube at the JobDuck. And if you have the interest, you can also find us on Pinterest. All right. See you next week, everybody.
See you next week.